network of side streams and side streams that make it up. So if you look at this, say, if you, I mean, with a novice eyes, you can easily find the main valleys. By the way, people who need to go to the bathroom, just go through this door. You can also see, if you are a little bit more trained, you will be able to recognize side streams. So here and there, I can see the same kind of curves here, where, let me use a different color code here, where different side streams are kind of draining water and joining the main stream. So here I can see a stream, here I can see another small stream draining water. Right, you can typically see that U shape. You will get a U when you go downstream, you will get a reverse U when you go upstream. That is basically the shape of the rock, the shape of the mountain as it has been eroded by water over so many years. I get a small stream there, and here from the saddle, the bottom of between again two peaks, from the saddle the water will start collecting and draining using this small side stream. So indeed it's not one single valley, but there are several kind of side streams that will contribute water from nearby places to the main valley or the main stream. So here again, a little less visible, but here there is also some very small, mostly dry throughout the year, but here is also some kind of a small side stream which we saw initially in that satellite view. So these will be the side streams. So it's always a branch network of different drainage points which will get the water out of the mountain towards the valley and towards the base of the hill, and then it becomes like a flat kind of river that goes to a dam or then eventually flows down to the sea, where again it's it kind of gets heated up by the sun and goes to the sky and falls down again, the usual cycle. Okay, so we have a couple of streams, we have a couple of hills now. Now let's look again at the saddles. Let me use a different symbol here. So as I let me maybe use like this horse symbol here, symbolically speaking. So if I go between two hills, here I got a saddle, right? I got a peak here. I go down, 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 fairly steep. I come to the lowest point, and here again I start climbing up. Right, so this is a saddle, and this is what you call a ridge also, which I was explaining. So to go from this peak to this peak, the easiest way, even though it's fairly steep here, the easiest way will be to go to the saddle and then up towards the other peak. So let me indicate the ridges. Ridges, remember again, is the opposite of a valley, because I'm walking at any time at the highest point. I'm walking from peak to peak or from base to peak at the highest point. If I walk along this line, I go left or right of the line, I will start dropping more fast towards the streams or the valleys. Same time here, I can easily have two of CTC's preferred ways to reach the peak will be, obviously the stream will be nice because it's cool, pleasant, waterish. We can take a dip in the pool, we can drink at certain points, so I can follow the stream. Then I can get into the side stream, and then I can walk up in the grassland to the peak. That is one way. Another way for mountaineers to climb up would be to follow the ridge, right? So you can see again, this is fairly kind of doable. Contour lines are not too bad compared to this side where it's almost vertical. I simply walk on a nice ridge here. Nice because it's gonna be the highest point. So waterfall, I mean, there will be very little water there, right? Any water that falls there immediately goes down to the left or the right side. So that means that there will be less water here, there will be less vegetation here, it will be simply grassland. It will be open, easy for me to walk there. There won't be too much vegetation to kind of easily walk up this ridge and again reach the base, I mean the top of the mountain. Right, so if I look again, say at the satellite view, you can see, if we zoom in a little bit, here it's shady again. This, I mean, here it's shady on the western side. So I guess this picture was taken on when the sun came up on the east. So here you can see indeed that it's grassy, that it's kind of dense bushes compared to this darker patch. Where, I mean, which starts popping up as we go towards the valleys where you get more dense vegetation. Oh, this white line is not a river. This is some rocks which are broken down from higher above. And if we zoom out a little, we always have to switch actually to kind of the terrain view to be sure. No, this will not be a river. I mean, here you can see a little bit kind of a curve which might point to the beginning of a stream here. But most probably just some rocks which fell down there. Okay, so now let's come to a very important aspect. So let me put a couple more ridge lines. Ridge lines will be very important for a couple of reasons. So from here to here, I connect right easily like this. This is another ridge line. Then here again, we got a saddle in between two peaks. So here I have a saddle. Here I got a small saddle, very small one, right? So I'm just going 20 meter down and going 60 meter up from this peak to this peak. And so here we have another ridge line. From this peak I can easily descend on this kind of easy curve. I'll have awesome views on the left side. It's like a very steep drop on the left side, while I'm walking almost flat on this ridge line here. This will eventually go up a little bit, reach a peak at this position. So this is another ridge line. And this again is a peak, a highest point, a concentric circle, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at a couple of important aspects here. So let me just complete a little more ridge lines here. So let me connect the peaks and the ways how I would typically walk from one peak to the other peak at the top of the mountain at the highest points here. Sorry. So let me draw another ridge line from this peak to this peak. Here again, awesome views, easy way to walk. And a saddle is here. Here I reach the saddle, I walk up again towards the peak. Okay. So you can see something happening now. You can see that around this western entry, I've started drawing ridge lines, connecting peaks basically. Peaks and saddles actually individually. So there will be always like lower points and higher points as I walk between the peaks. Okay, so let me finish one more here. Let's draw. So here again we have a peak around this western entry valley. I'm just focusing on the western entry now. And let me again connect the ridge line here. From this peak I'm walking nicely top of the mountain, walk to the saddle, and here then walk up again tuk-tuk to this peak. Sorry. And then from this peak again I could walk down possibly here. Very narrow ridge, you can see it's very small to walk on because left and right immediately I start dropping down. So here again I come down somewhere to this ridge kind of. Okay. So now you can see the western entry again, the main valley with a couple of side streams. And you can see all the surrounding peaks here with saddles in between, right? Another saddle here. Let me just finish it up. You will see why in a second. Okay. I just still have to connect these two here. So somewhere here, somewhere here, again, from this peak to this peak, to this saddle here, and connecting the last peak, bang. So we got a full circle now. If you look at it, what I've done is I've kind of walked across all the highest points which are surrounding this valley. I've walked the saddle to peak, to saddle to peak, to saddle to peak, to saddle to peak, to saddle to peak. So this would be most probably a doable point. And one interesting point now, guys and girls, what you can see here is what happens to water that falls down. Right? So water that falls on the right side of my ridge, of my highest line of walking here, is gonna fall into the western stream, right? Into this valley. Water that falls on the left side is never gonna come here. Water doesn't climb up. Water gets pulled down by gravity, will start flowing down through some other stream on the other side of the ridge. So this happens all around this ridge now. So if I go to the right side here, it goes in this stream, which is the main Nagala Eastern stream, the We got the picnic pool here where we trek frequently. Vishal took a group of trekkers there last weekend. Right, here again, same thing. Yeah. So in this saddle here or in this peak, everything that falls to the right goes to this stream. Everything that falls to the left goes to this stream. So now exactly you can understand that the bigger this area is, this is basically the drainage area. All the water that falls on... I think the internet is... Sorry, the power is down. Oh, lucky. I thought it would be screwed. Sometimes they switch off the electricity in Palawakan. So basically everything that falls within that drainage area gets drained to the stream. So you can obviously imagine, right, that if the drainage area is 3 square kilometers, that a smaller stream is going to form. If the drainage area is, say, 30 square kilometers, that obviously more water gets collected and that you're going to have more probability to find water in that stream. Right? That's kind of clear. So this is one of the primary factors how I kind of identify which are the interesting streams to go trekking on a CTC treks. Right? In this tropical climate, you don't want to take a group of 30 people, including typically freshers on our trek, to a place where for 2 days you're not going to find water because anybody is going to, half of the group is going to die on the spots. In this tropical climate, while you trek, you're carrying 6 kilograms of luggage in your backpack. You're easily going to consume 3-4 liters of drinking water every day. So it's very important that we identify places which have running water. And these ridge lines, these peaks, these saddles are going to be essential points to kind of find the boundary area for your drainage area of the stream. So in this case, if you look at the scale, you can see that we have a drainage area which is on an average 1 kilometer wide here. So not too wide kind of, but if you look at the length, it's pretty long. It's I think easily 6-7 kilometers. So western entry stream kind of drains around 7 square kilometers of water. So that's one of the reasons why throughout the year you can find water flowing there. Even though it might not have rained for, say, 4 to 6 weeks, the water that would have fallen down near the ridge and near these higher points would have taken sometimes weeks to kind of slowly trickle down through all these small crevices and rocks and smaller, like, how you say, small pebbles before it kind of reaches the main valley and before it starts draining through the stream. So that's the beauty about this kind of ecosystem and this kind of whole mountain range, right? Say that water gets buffered for a nice amount of time, weeks or months sometimes, to trickle down. So which gives us drinkable water and kind of enjoyable waterfalls and pools throughout the years to kind of go for an enjoyable trek in these places. So this people, I mean, trusted from years of looking at maps and planning trails. This is some of the most important things I'm telling.